So we're back at it on day 6 here up in Woodstock. We're starting on that bottom waterfall area. We already picked the stone out this morning, so we're ready to go set it. One key thing is when building a waterfall, sometimes the least amount of rock, the better. And in this case, 2 boulders is gonna frame out the waterfall. We'll add other rocks in, but the main structure will be 2 large boulders. So the waterfall is pretty much complete up there. We have a whole bunch of small detail work to do. Wednesday, the weather's gonna really warm up here, so we're gonna wait for then. That way we can add the plants, cobbles, moss, and everything and do all the finishing touches. So this afternoon, which is Monday, we're working on this basin area here, digging that down. Raphael's gonna take some of this soil. He just hopped in the machine and put that over where our bell is over in that area. We have to raise that up about a foot, and then we'll dig our basin area down. We just leveled that area right over there, so when the water flows out of the pool, it flows out evenly. The basin on this project is going to be utilizing Aquascape's Aqua Block. We're gonna have 20 small Aqua Block in here and also a pump wall. You can see the block right there behind me. They're already built. They will go in the order of 5 wide by 4 deep. We're gonna be excavating the area down roughly about 16 inches, leaving a little room for some sand and setting the blocks a little deeper than normal. Where that pool exits into the basin, we want a little rippling effect of water. So by putting the blocks a little lower, that will enable us to have a small 5-inch waterfall. Starting off day 7 here, we have a new team member, Tessie, from the other install team that normally works over there with Enrique, but they're working on some maintenance stuff and working on some projects around the shop, making everything a little more beautiful for next season. So Tessie's out here helping us, along with Raphael, myself, and Abel. And we're just getting this Pondless Basin ready because we're making an extra deep area for the pumps to sit, utilizing some large block, and that is so the pumps sit down a little deeper in the water. The larger pumps that are in this feature have a tendency to make a swirling noise as the water drops, and we don't want that to happen. We got to utilize all the water in the small blocks. The reason for the small blocks in the other areas is because of the groundwater in the area. We have a lot of groundwater. We did not want to dig down that deep in the whole entire area. So this is one way you could use small blocks, a little deeper of a sump area, and larger pumps, give the flow that you want on your waterfall. In order to get the large blocks in here, we need to level this upper area for the small blocks and the deeper area for the larger block. The pump vault will sit down in there with 3 large blocks surrounding the pump vault and 1 cut on the back side. Once that is level on the bottom and flat and tamped, everything is perfect. We're gonna spray an area to put that pump vault in there, and we'll be able to dig down right through that sand. This is where the small Aqua Blocks will sit. Pump vault will sit down in that hole, and around the pump vault will be a couple large Aqua Blocks. Making that well extra deep will allow us to utilize all the water in these Aqua Blocks. If we didn't do that and the water got low in the Aqua Block, the pump would start making a noise. So you can see behind me, we got that basin liner in place. Right now we're cutting another piece of fabric to put on top, and then we're gonna put the pump vault and all the blocks into the hole. After that, we'll backfill it with some sand, and if we run out of sand, we have plenty of topsoil in the truck. Keep us moving along. Once that basin is in place, then it's the job of trying to disguise it. I already have a couple of rocks picked out in the pile that's out in the driveway. One big, nice flat one for the front corner, and we're gonna really shrink that basin down. We do not wanna see a big square or rectangle down there. Before I could even video it, these guys got this stump out of the woods. Abel and Desiderio. That's gonna look so awesome in the waterfall. Stay tuned as we place that in the basin of this Pondless waterfall. So this is gonna be a huge boulder that as you come down the staircase, you'll be able to see a pool of water down below that I'm standing in right now. Abel's working on finishing up this little secret little sitting rock that we made. I love when you create things with the rocks that come on the truck, and this is gonna be a cool little area to come step down from the patio and look at that waterfall in the distance. What a pretty waterfall with a heater and a propane tank. So we got a lot going on in this project here, and we're pretty much finishing up the waterfall. We did the upper section earlier today, and Raphael's Raphael's working on that last drop right in there. And myself and the other guys, we're working on putting the steps in. So this is the base for the first step. We had to put fabric down and then 3/4 inch gravel. We'll set that first step in. And when that step goes into place, it'll actually be 1 inch lower than the top of this step here. That's like kind of the greeting area to the Pondless waterfall. And when our patio goes in, we don't want to see the bottom of that first step. We're going to do a series of 4, and then up top, we're going to have another 3. It looks like we're going to have 6, maybe 7 steps. Let's see what happens. Ralphie's preparing right here to do that bib liner, the piece of liner over the foam. He'll foam this whole area out around the back of that rock, and that'll allow that water to pour down into this pooling area. Tomorrow we'll work on finishing the basin and the steps, but we're well on our way to have this thing completed by the end of the week. And we have such beautiful weather here in November. Ralphie's got 1 pump done, and he's working on the second one. One's a 5 to 9 SLD coming my way, and the other one's a 4 to 7. Should have really good flow on this waterfall. Once he completes this, we'll actually be able to turn on the hose and start filling the basin. That is the last key factor for us to be able to run the waterfall. Raphael's over there doing that. Desiderio, Abel, and myself are working on finishing off this staircase. Total of 7 steps, and it's gonna be a great entrance way up into that screen porch. Also a great way for them to come out of that screen porch, down the staircase, into the backyard, which they can never do before. Tomorrow we'll hook up the rest of the plumbing. We got a couple little odds and ends up in the waterfall, and we're ready for this thing to flow. The basin right there is filled with water. We gotta add a couple more inches, then we can plug the pumps in. Raphael's over there, he's hooking up lights. Abel's getting the outside of the other side of the patio all prepped. Gonna spread that gravel out right down in that area there, and then that'll get covered with a pea gravel for a final touch, and then we're ready to get the waterfall fully up and running.
We were kind of trying to figure out exactly what to do with this space, because it's an awkward space. The house is built up a little bit. It was awkward, and we didn't know what to do. And so we were thinking about maybe doing a koi pond or something like that. We contacted the people at Garden State Koi, and they came out and took a look at the property, and they suggested a more waterfall-based feature, which was great because we didn't want to have like wolves coming out and killing the ducks. They came out, consulted with us several times about what we actually wanted, and we kind of said, we trust you, you know, do your thing. We looked through their book, and they had a lot of really great different features that they've done for other properties. They explained to us every step of the way what they were doing, but we couldn't actually picture what it was going to look like. It was really hard to picture. Even when it was done, it was very hard to picture until the water started running. Once they filled the water and it started running, it was just like, yeah, we were right to trust them. They knew what they were doing. I think what I like about it the best is the sound. It's so relaxing and so peaceful. I'm a water baby. It actually reminds me a lot of one of my favorite places on earth. I used to go to Walt Disney World every year and stay at the Wilderness Lodge, and they have a beautiful, beautiful fountain there that starts in the lobby and runs down into the pool. And I spend a lot of time sitting there and just relaxing and listening to that. And this gives me that same feeling. The other thing I really love about it is and this is something several of the neighbors have commented on, is it just looks natural. It looks like it was always here. It really fits with the landscape. We had already put in on this property, we'd put in a fire pit on the other side, and we did all of this stonework up here. They just took a look at it and knew exactly what kind of rocks to bring in, and it just ended up looking so natural. It looks like it fits right in. One of the things I really loved about working with Tim and the Garden State team was they knew what they were doing. They came in, they did this in 2 weeks. They originally told us they would have it done in 2 weeks. I'm not gonna lie, we actually took bets. We didn't think it would happen in 2 weeks. And sure enough, 2 weeks to the day, we came out and it was running, and they were so professional, but they were also really nice guys. Like, we enjoyed hanging out with them. They knew what they were doing, and well, as you can see, they did it. I think one of the ways this really changes the experience of the yard is it sort of expands how much use we're getting out of the outdoor space. This was just a hill of dirt before. There wasn't anything here. You know, we've been slowly but surely trying to plant things in the yard, planting trees and stuff like that. This just takes it to a whole nother level. And one of the things I really love about it is if you look up behind us at the patio, I spend all spring and summer out there. And so to be able to hear this and just get that relaxing feeling while I'm working, it's gonna just, I can't wait for spring.
So we just finished up the Pondless Waterfall here in Woodstock, New York, and man, it came out awesome. What a great location right off the back patio, some viewing areas from the upper screen porch. This thing is spectacular. One of my favorites from this season because of the way the water just goes every which direction down the hillside. Plenty of power. Remember, if you like what you saw on this video today, press that like button, hit that subscribe button, and ring the bell. It means a lot to me and my team here at Garden State Koi. Thanks for watching. Tune in next week for another awesome video.